Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Shanice, can you give me a thumbs up? Brilliant. Right.
You are currently muted, so we cannot hear you.
You can't hear me? Oh.
I can hear him.
Yeah, we can hear you still.
We can hear you.
Superb. Superb. Could you do me a favor, please, please, please? I hate technology. It's the bane of my life. And I'm a people person. I like seeing people visibly. So if you could turn your cameras on, it will just make me feel less nervous. So thank you, Jackie. You're my best friend currently. Number one, Jackie. Do I have any more friends? If you can't, not a problem. Brilliant. Okay. Right. So thank you for the invite. I'm going to speak to you on a topic that was given to me regarding how do we bully-proof our children, our young adults. It's an interesting question because all of us have an answer and a role to play in ensuring that we have our children grow up in a society where they are safe, where they are free to develop, and where they can be confident of not being potentially bullied. So I'm going to share a bit of a PowerPoint with you. I hope that you're able to see it. So let's go share my screen. Yeah, let's have a go. Share right from the beginning. So hopefully you should be able to see that. It's bully proof your child. And as again, so my name is Nigle Oram. As stated, I am the proud, and I do use that word, proud head teacher of Harper Bell Seventh-day Adventist School, which is in the centre of Birmingham. It's in Digbeth. And for those of you who don't know about Harper Bell, it's a primary school. That means it educates children from ages 4 to 11. We're a very small one-form entry school. That means there's only one class in every year group. Currently, we have about 170 children. The vast majority of our children come from an African Caribbean background, but we are really a very much an inclusive school. So we have children from all different faiths and none. So we have children, we roughly have about 37% of our children who are Seventh-day Adventists, children from other Christian denominations, and we also have Muslim children and children who come with no faith. But we are very much a faith-based school. Our values are love of God, love of each other, learning, because every aspect, every interaction in our school has got to be a learning interaction, good, bad, or indifferent. We need to learn from it, and laughter. If you can't laugh and have joy in a school, the school I run, you can't be there. You're not allowed to have a job there. It's a requirement. You have to be in an environment where you can have joy, and schools for me are the most joyous place that I've come across. Our curriculum is very much, again, based around 3 distinctive characters. That's our faith. We're very much confident in our belief about God. We espouse it in our lessons. We espouse it in our behavior. We're confident and proud about that. We're confident about teaching children about our cultural heritage. As I said before, the vast majority of our children come from an African Caribbean background. We teach that. We teach their history, we teach their culture, and we're confident in doing that. Yes, we have to teach the wider national curriculum, and we do that extremely well. But we also teach very clearly about our culture as well. And our aspirations. We have a desire that every one of our children gets to go to university, aspires to a university education. And that's not to say if they don't, they're failures. But on the way to that aspiration, you're going to be working towards those core values of hard work, commitment, target setting, resilience. Yeah, and that's our true passion around being part of Harper Bell. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm a proud head teacher of a wonderful school. So today I was asked to talk, and that's a bit more about our school. So, and I think it's pertinent as it feeds in to the discussion. we were Ofsted in 2019, and one of the things they talked about when they did their inspection, which we were graded good with outstanding elements, was pupils' spiritual, moral, and social cultural development. And they said on that day, they were able to see very clearly that our children had a self-respect, but a respect for others, and celebrated diversity. Yeah. So when they talk about diversity, they're talking about the different cultures within the school, the different relationships they have with each other. The diversity was a harmonious one. Yeah. And that doesn't happen without thought, without strategies being put into place. And we're very clear that we have to be that guide, that educator in all aspects of school life, not just the educational bits. Okay. So the core presentation is going to be very much around bullying. Okay. And all of us went to school, and all of us must have come across somebody being bullied, or potentially we've been bullied. And it is a feature of life. It happens in the work environment. Obviously, all of us work or do some kind of employment, and it's unacceptable, and we need to tackle it. And one of my roles is as a head teacher is also as a designated safeguarding lead. And in doing so, I put together policies, practices to make sure that we try and prevent bullying from happening, but where it does happen, that we very much look at what we can do to ensure that children are safeguarded. Okay. So bullying, we just basically need to start from a definition of what bullying is. So I've written, and this is based off the NSPCC, which is a charity that looks after children, and their clear interpretation of what bullying is. So bullying is an aggressive behavior that is intentional and involves an imbalance of power or strength. It is a repeated behavior and can be physical, verbal, or relational. Okay. It's a power construct. A bully will always believe that they have power over the person they are bullying. That may be true or false, but they will try and input that into the person they're bullying. And as stated, it may be done in a physical way, which is the actual hitting, punching, kicking. The verbal way, which is being verbally abusive or aggressional, or in terms of relational. And that means how children relate to each other. And that may be where children are being ostracized, being cast adrift from a grouping because of a particular element they are being bullied for. There's a statement here that says, while boys may bully others using more physical means, girls often bully others by social exclusion. And that's not being stereotypical. That's just what we see in education. So boys are very much more physically aggressive than girls generally. And again, this is a general statement. Girls can be very physical also. Girls may look at almost excluding other girls from groups, and that can be equally as damaging as the physical bullying. Yeah. So that social exclusion is very much seen in girls and their groupings. Okay. It can happen anywhere, at school, at home, online, and it's usually repeated over a long period of time and can hurt child both physically and emotionally. Okay. Emotionally. And we talk and have been talking for the last 12 to 18 months about people's mental health, and particularly young people's mental health. And that's something that we need to be mindful of. So bullying, and one of its ramifications is the damage it can have both physically, okay, being attacked, being hurt, but also the long-term scars of it may have in terms of the emotional impact. One of the other ways that bullying has developed over the last 10 years is what's known as cyberbullying. And cyberbullying is where we are seeing bullies take to the internet. Yeah, that online attack. Yeah, that online threats that can really have a negative impact on our children and young people. And it can come in many different constructs online. So I've got a list of them. I'll just run through them very quickly. So it could be sending threatening or abusive text message, creating and sharing embarrassing images, trolling individuals, excluding children from online games, activities, friendship groups, shaming someone online, setting up hate sites or groups about a particular child, encouraging young people to self-harm. And this is something that's happened a lot during the last 24 months, and it's specifically girls, not exclusively, I would say, that have been encouraged to hurt themselves. It's just evil. But there are sites that are encouraging young ladies predominantly to hurt themselves. Voting against someone in an abusive poll, creating fake accounts, sending explicit images, also known as sexting. And this continues to happen in an increased number in secondary schools. But I would add, not just secondary schools, this is also happening in primary schools. We are seeing young children in primary schools have access to mobile phones or devices where they are taking pictures of themselves posing partially naked, fully naked, or and potentially in a sexual manner, and sending that image to a contact. Okay. And also pressing children into sending sexual images of engaged in sexual conversations as well. And this all forms under the concept of cyberbullying. And there is a lot there. There is a lot there. And we as parents, we as guardians, we as teachers have to be aware of these issues. I'm just going to put up very quickly different ways that our young children, young adults are accessing online social mediums. So here are some of the most popular ones, and I'm sure that everybody can identify at least 3, if not 4, if not all of them. So we've got YouTube, very popular again in terms of streaming different videos, and then people commenting on those. And it's the comments on those that can actually be very, very offensive. You've got Instagram, okay? Again, videos being shared, content being shared between individuals. Snapchat, TikTok has become very popular, WhatsApp and Twitter. And what I want you to know is the minimum age that these apps require you to be to engage with them. So if I go to WhatsApp, I don't know if everybody knew, you actually have to be 16 years old to have a WhatsApp account. And I would ask, if you have a son or a daughter who's younger than 16, do they have a WhatsApp account? Well, if they do, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. You have to be 16. If they have a Snapchat or an Instagram account or a TikTok account, they need to be a minimum of 13 years old. And I would ask, if your child is younger than 13 and they've got that on their device or phone, they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. But again, part of what we've got to do is educate ourselves. We can't sit in the dark in regards to technology. We have to be up to date with what our children are using to communicate. When I was a child, it was the house phone, and the house phone was in the sitting room, and your mum was there listening to everything you said. So nothing could be said that was not supposed to be said, because everybody could hear. But those days have gone, and they are gone. Yeah. And so we need to be very clear of the different platforms that are being utilized to communicate between our young people. And we need to be very clear about language that's being utilized, the different ways children are communicating. So what I've done here is, if you look on the left-hand side, there are some letters, And these letters form different ways that children and young adults will communicate via WhatsApp or texting, in shorthand, in a way that the majority of parents would not have a clue what they're saying. So the first one, WTTP, if that was text to somebody, a parent, you'd have no idea what that meant. But for our young people, that says want to trade pictures, trade photos, I should say. MOS, mum over the shoulder. And that's used, for example, in a scenario where mum comes into a child's bedroom and quickly the child texts MOS. Yeah. And then leaves. Mum takes the phone, MOS. What does that mean? It doesn't mean, it's just code for something, mum. Don't worry about it. GNOC, get naked on camera. 99, parents are gone. IWSN, I want sex now. LMIR, let's meet in real life. KMS, kill myself. And I know this may come as a shock, and you may think that your child could never do something like this or would never be part of this language, but somebody's child is. And I think, and it's imperative that we start to learn the language that's our children, young adults are communicating with using this technology. And if we don't know the language now, we need to learn it. Yeah, ignorance is no longer acceptable. And we need to be proactive and set boundaries for our children. I think sometimes we think we can't. It's no longer the right way to parent children by giving them boundaries. As a head teacher, I would say boundaries are essential. Boundaries are actually what children and young people really do need and actually want. If you talk to children about during the lockdown, bear with me, one sec. Sorry, you have to excuse me. The patio doors were open and there's a big wasp in the house. Sorry about that. So let's get back. Yeah, technology. The boundaries of technology needs to be taught and shared with your children. One of the things I would ask you to do is to talk to your children about what is acceptable in your house. What are your cyber rules in your house? And you may want to take some of these and consider, could you actually implement them in your house? If you look at the second bullet point, friend your child on Facebook. Yeah, some of our children, some of our young adults have obviously Facebook accounts. Be the child's friend. Yeah, so you can see who their friends are. You can see what they're posting, what they're looking at, what they're sharing. Another cool one could be, where do you allow your children to access the internet? What area? Or are they free to use it in any room? Are they free to use it in their bedroom, in the bathroom? Or do you have a specific area, say the living room, where you can say, okay, you can access your iPad, your computer, your laptop here in a central area that you as a mother or a father or a bigger sister, bigger brother can monitor their use. Using the different software to track what they're using. So my son has a phone, and it's a Samsung phone, and there's an app called Family Link. So I can actually download that app, and it actually links to my son's phone. And in that way, the link, I can turn it off and turn it on. So I can set what time he uses the phone. So he's not allowed to use the phone on a weekday unless it's between 6 and 7. So he's got an hour. Yeah. Apart from that, it's off. On the weekend, he gets an extended 3 hours on a Saturday, 3 hours on a Sunday, and then it's switched off until Monday again, where it's only just an hour. He's not allowed to download any apps. If he tries to download any apps, then it sends a message to me saying, my son, he's trying to download an app. It's also almost a tracking device, so I can tell if he goes out with his phone exactly where he is as well. Okay, so there are different bits of software that we can utilize to protect our children. But also, you need to be an advocate for your child. If you believe your child is being bullied specifically at school, you need to contact the school. I'm a head teacher, and you have to understand you are the biggest advocate for your children. You are their guardian, you are their protector. Yeah. And if you go to school and your head teacher is not particularly responsive about you and your concerns regarding your child potentially being bullied, then please, please, please write to the chair of governors. Yeah, they will pick that up. It's their duty and their responsibility as well. And in some serious cases, these can be used as evidence, so be it messages, web links, emails, texts, depending how serious they are. You may want to keep those and utilize them as evidence when you go to the police as well. So again, we've looked at some of the preventative methods you can use, but also let's make sure we recognize the signs of children who potentially may be being bullied. So are your children, is there a change in their sleep pattern? Is there a change in their eating pattern? In their behavior, are they more angry? Is there evidence of mood swings? Are they a bit withdrawn in the morning? Are they starting to stammer? Are they becoming a bit more aggressive and unreasonable? Refusing to talk about what's wrong, beginning to target siblings, continually losing money, or starting to steal. These are all signs, or potential signs, of a child being bullied. And these are the emotional and behavioral side. And that's not to say that if your child is refusing to talk to you and they're 15-year-old, that they're being bullied, that's probably just puberty and they don't want to speak to you because you're the worst person in the world currently as a parent. But you must start to consider some of the reasons why aligned with these other potential issues. Some of the physical signs in regard to bullying, unexplained bruises, cuts, scratches, come home and their clothes are damaged, come home hungry. So are they being physically attacked? Yeah. So sometimes children come home with cuts and bruises from school. As I said, I'm a head teacher at school, and they fall over in the playground, or they've been playing football a bit too rough and they've, ripped their trousers. And these are explained, but what you want to be very conscious of are the unexplained cuts, the unexplained bruises or scratches. Children saying, I don't know how that happened, or I can't explain, or don't want to explain. It's your responsibility then to either pursue that with your child or contact the school. Because if they don't know, they should know. Signs of bullying at schools, children not wanting to go to school. Changing, and this is usually for the older, changing their routes to school, not wanting to go on certain buses, trams, or trains, or grades falling. All of these are indicators that something's not quite right at school. And again, we need to get to the bottom of this. Are these clear signs that your child is being bullied? And for us, what we want to do is to create an environment where bullying doesn't happen. But I'd be lying. I've been a head teacher at Harperville for 5 years. I've been a teacher at a previous school for 3 years. I've been in education for 20 years. And each one of those schools, I've come across bullying. Bullying happens, but we want to control and set a culture where it doesn't happen frequently. Yeah. But when it does happen, we need to be proactive again with the individual it's happening to. We need to listen to them. We need to ask those pertinent questions, but we need to listen, and we need to be active listeners. And we can't be reactionary. We can't, and I know some of our parents, and I've had these conversations where parents have said, yeah, well, you wait there till I get down there. I'm going to take out the boy, I'm going to take out the girl, or why you never box them down. Yes, these are all our initial emotions. Yeah, nobody wants to hear that their child, be their son or daughter, has been bullied physically, verbally, or even on social media. Yeah, but we need to listen to what's happened, and we need to have a strategy to ensure that your child's safeguarded and that bullying is ended. We need to make sure that you're reminding your child that it's not their fault. Some of our children will believe, oh, I'm being bullied, it's my fault, it's my responsibility. It's because I'm too fat, I'm too short, I'm not attractive enough. Yeah, please, you need to reiterate that the bully is never at fault. The bully is never at fault, it's the bullier. You need to contact your school. I would hope that most of you have really good relationships with your school, be it your deputy head or your head teacher, that you can inform them and they will listen and they will be proactive in doing something about it. Yeah. And if they're not, you have the right to go to the chair of governors and put your case, be very clear about what it is you want to happen. And when you want this to happen, what does the remedy look like? I'm going to move on to another form of, it's bullying, but in a more dramatic form. And I thought it would be on two lines. I don't know if many of you have heard about this, but we live in Birmingham, and obviously it's been a very big city, setting city. We have a national crisis of where children, specifically vulnerable children, are being targeted by gangs in order to sell drugs. But
did you drink it? Are you telling the truth?
Hello? Sorry. They are being targeted to sell drugs, not just in the city that they live in. However, they have been asked and taken and moved to other cities, other towns, other villages to sell drugs. And this is termed county lines. Now, the county line element comes in because they're moving from one particular county to another county or another area, another district. And the county line element is the line itself is linked to the mobile phone. So they are being coerced into taking drugs into a particular another area, another town, and then they are put in a house in order to sell drugs using their mobile phone as a means to contact those people they're selling drugs to. And this has become a real issue, not just in Birmingham, but London, in Manchester, in Liverpool, about how our young people are being targeted and the methods they're being used to be targeted. And some of you may have heard this. Luckily, it's been given quite wide airing, the concept of the chicken shop gang. This is where our young adults, young children, after school, they all convene, they will go to the shop, and the chicken shop, £1 chicken and chips, is where some of our children congregate. But what's now happening is these heinous gang members are identifying vulnerable children. They are then approaching these children and saying they will buy them a dinner, chicken burger and chips, one piece of chicken and chips, whatever it may be. And obviously that naive child is saying, yeah, thank you. And then the next day they will buy them, I don't know, another piece of chicken and chips or another burger or whatever. We get to day 3, do the same, day 4, brilliant. Day 5, the gang member, the drug dealer says, oh, I've just spent £10 on you this week buying you food. Could you just do something for me? I don't want the money back. I just need you to take this package over to that street. Yep. The child potentially says no. Then the drug dealer may say, or the gang member will simply say, well, I gave you 2, 3, 4, 5 days of chicken and chips. You just need to do this for me. Just do it. It's not a big deal. Just do it. Our child takes that package naively. And in many cases, that child is robbed of that package. That package usually contains some kind of class A, class B drug. That child is robbed. That child's actually being set up. It's been fitted up to be robbed by another drug member. That package is robbed. Package contains, I don't know, 50, £100 worth of drug. That child is then caught in a cycle where he now owes that drug dealer £100 because you've lost my product. Where is my £100? You've lost it. And most children don't have access to £100. They are then in the pocket of that individual who now says, you owe me £100. You now need to take this and go and deliver it to that person in that city. Yep. They are then plied with drugs, alcohol themselves, and then they're caught up in this cycle where they are either afraid of being physically beaten, sexually molested, in such an environment that they live under complete and utter fear. And what has to be very clear is that these children are the victims also. They're coerced, they are bullied into this environment. I know we get the term drug dealer and we think they're the worst people in the world. Yes, they are. But the way in which our children are being coerced into it, they themselves are the victims. And just quickly go through, so how do you know if county lines drug dealing is happening in your area? Some of the signs include an increased number of visitors to a particular house or to a flat, new faces appearing at houses or flats, new and regular change in residents, different accents compared to the local accents, change in residents' moods and demeanors, substance misuse or paraphernalia around, change in the way young people might now dress. If you just recognize some of our young adults, they wear some very, very expensive clothes. Where are they getting the money to do this? Yeah, that's not to say all of them are drug related. That's clearly not what I'm saying. But we need to be very mindful of how certain children are able to afford these types of clothes. We'll just move on. So we all need to be part of the solution. I think there is often that concept of my child wouldn't be a part of this. My child's never going to be bullied. My child's never going to be part of county lines. It's nothing to do with me. But the mere fact that you're online and you're listening to this presentation, for me, demonstrates that we are all corporate parents. Corporate parents in that they may not be our physical children, our biological children, but they are corporate, our community. And we have to understand what some of our children are facing, being part of bullying, physical, emotional, cyberbullying, or potentially county lines, and what we can potentially do about this. So as I said, if we go back and we talk about bullying related to happening in school, happening on cyberbullying, please, please, please go and speak to your head teacher. In relation to county lines, contact the police. And knowing certain communities, in our communities, the relationship between police can often be strained, often not perfect. But we need to make sure that we are doing the right thing. The police will have to do the right thing. Let us do the right thing also. But I'm going to stop there because I want to give some time to questions. But I've talked for the last, 30 minutes, and it's been slightly doom and gloom. Let's remember the vast majority of children have an extremely happy childhood. They're not part of criminal gangs. They're not being bullied consistently. They are happy, joyous, passionate children with a life to look forward to. Yeah. So let's not sit ourselves in an environment of doom. And we are proactive in what we do. I'm a Christian. I believe thoroughly in the power of God and his love. And so we must pray for our children. We pray each day, as I said, not just for our own physical children, but our corporate children, our church children, our community children, our country children. We pray. We educate our children with naivety. It can't happen. We need to make sure that our children are aware of the environment they are growing up in. Yeah. Shielding them is important, but allowing them to be naive is dangerous. And we need to protect our children. And we protect our children by being physically there. Yeah, being physically there, being there where children need to talk to us. Work is busy. I'm busy. We all are busy. Yeah, but we need to make sure that we give our children the time and the space to come to us, that we listen to our children. Yeah. They may talk in a different way. They may use jargon that's unfamiliar. They may slouch when they talk to us, but we need to make sure that we listen to our children. Okay. So thank you for listening.